Yeah, well, once you can get a system in place and like perfect it, like it does take some time. Like I just said it quick in a sentence, but it does take some time and some time investment and some energy investment. But once you get that solid foundation there, then it's just a matter of replicating it and doing it over and over again. And then like with creative work, like with writers, for example, they also get better at what you're doing. So it's less difficult. Like you kind of just get over the hump.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the next episode of the Fearless Business Podcast. I'm your host, Robin Waite, the Fearless Business Coach. I have got an amazing guest on the show today in Chelsea Baldwin. Welcome to the show, Chelsea.
Thank you for having me. I'm
My
excited.
pleasure. Chelsea is the founder of Business Bitch, a multi-business entrepreneur. To date, she's helped hundreds of newbie and growing entrepreneurs get their businesses established and making real money. She believes impatience is a virtue in business and chasing your goals, and is also the host of the Business Bitch podcast. So I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in, especially with a company name like that as well, Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too.
Awesome. So listen, you've run many or several businesses over the years. And one of the things which I wanted to really tap into today with you was about this notion of going from freelance to small agency. So many people start out as a one-man band. Many people watching and listening to this, they're sort of solopreneurs, coaches, consultants, freelancers. I guess my first question is, how do you know when is the right time to grow into a small agency?
Yeah, well, I just started seeing the opportunity because I started my career as a freelance writer. Freelance writer turned that into a business, so I would take myself more seriously and hopefully make some more money, which worked. And I started getting more clients. I started getting booked. I got booked solid. And then, I don't know, I just kind of realized I could keep referring work out, or I could have people contract underneath me and I could take some money off the top and still like basically have that same model. That's kind of how I realized it. I kind of like had to work hard as a freelancer to get fully booked and have like the LLC set up, which is like just a basic business setup here. And then I realized, yeah, okay, I could do this. I could hire people underneath me because I had like my systems of how I wrote, and I had like digital trainings for that as well, which we could talk about a little bit too. But if the writers were willing to do my trainings, then why wouldn't I be able to expand?
Was there kind of a point when you were like, because I'm guessing probably the most worrying moment was taking on that first hire, kind of everybody else after that it's a little bit different. So was there a moment where you were like, oh gosh, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah, and there's definitely a big learning curve because, well, fortunately for me, I decided not to do full-time employees type of things. I just used subcontractors. So they were still freelancers in their own right, but I subcontracted to them. But yeah, it was like, oh, okay, I hope this works. I was maybe more confident in them than I should have been because I thought, okay, they've done my trainings. This is exactly how I write. I put it out exactly. Like if they follow the steps, they'll have this great copy. And it's not like they delivered bad like copywriting, but it wasn't quite up to my standards. So
But you're a rock star though, Chelsea. So it's never gonna quite be up to
right.
your
Well,
us entrepreneurs, we put out 160% of what a normal person puts out. So probably they were doing all right. It's just it wasn't Chelsea.
yeah, it was okay, but it was like I made these trainings to be able to take okay copy to like the really next level. And that's what my clients were expecting from me and anyone who worked underneath me. So there was just a learning curve there. That's all.
So what did you do to overcome that then in terms of making sure that the freelancers you were taking on were doing as good or as close to a good a job as Chelsea could do?
Yeah. Well, for the first one, I just kind of like edited it before I passed it off to the client, which was still a lot less time than me having to write everything from scratch. So it's fine. But then I set up a process to where like I would be giving the writers feedback. And then as a writer, if you're a good writer, you get better and better with feedback over time. So I just kind of realized there's going to be a learning curve for each person that comes on. Like, okay, this is how it's done. It needs to be to this level before I send it off. So I made like a process and I made a video like this is the process that we walked through. I started using like what are those things called? Like project management software to kind of like internally lead us through the steps on the different projects we had going on.
Because you don't want to be repeating the same thing like over and over and over again to different people. It doesn't make sense. It's not an efficient way to do it. And so did you notice what was the upside of doing that? How did the results How did you kind of think, yeah, this is really working now? What was going on?
Yeah, well, once you can get a system in place and like perfect it, like it does take some time. Like I just said it quick in a sentence, but it does take some time and some time investment and some energy investment. But once you get that solid foundation there, then it's just a matter of replicating it and doing it over and over again. And then like with creative work, like with writers, for example, they also get better at what you're doing. So it's less difficult. Like you kind of just get over the hump. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm probably going to get a bit of imposter syndrome when we write up your blog article for this podcast. So maybe you'll have to give that a wash, or get one of your team to give it a wash afterwards as well. How does that then lead into, you have several sort of digital products as well. So did you repurpose some of those trainings and then turn them into digital products?
Well, I made them as digital products first, and then we're like, oh, well, this is, I'm training you. Like I have a Write a Better website course. I have a Blogging with Balls masterclass training on email sequences. So it's like, okay, well, this is how I write web copy. This is how I write blog posts. And this is how we do email sequences. And I made those and sold them for people who wanted copy like at my level, but couldn't afford the high-end copywriter prices. And then it was like, oh, well, I also had a lot of writers buying them and taking them and thanking me for them because it helped them improve their skill. So that's where I kind of sourced the pool of people, was like, oh, well, you've taken all these courses, like you want to maybe subcontract, like send over some samples of what you've done and we'll like talk.